Hello, everybody. My name is Lewis Lee, and this is Playing in Traffic. We do this every Thursday night, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. And please share this on Facebook, YouTube. It's all live. Share it with your friends. Let them know what we're doing. We got a special guest, one of our favorite guests, Mike Ring from Ring Brothers. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good. I'm kind of when you said favorite guest, that means a lot. That's pretty
Oh
cool.
man, yeah. I mean, you the guy. I would say your
Uh,
brother too, but he is the second time he hasn't came to hang out with us. So
yeah, no, he's down in Texas. I don't know what's going on. It's been two
yeah,
times now, but
that's
I'm
right.
good with just being with you, Lewis.
Yeah, we enjoy you coming on, and we got a lot of good response from the last time you came on.
Well,
People love
good.
hearing your stories and about your cars. Um, and this year, you really pumped out some stuff this year.
Yeah, we had again. We thought, oh, after 22 and bringing Enyo and the Camaro and the Mustang and the Blazer, we thought, oh, 23 would be easy, but then we ended up bringing the Charger and the
Rolls Royce,
Mustang and the Rolls Royce. It's like,
yeah.
so yeah, it's like we think we're going to take it easy, and then we bring three more.
Well, I know that you're an artist, so fluids come out when you're looking at something. So I know it's hard to slow down.
Yeah, it is. You're always thinking. I get up in the middle of the night and think about what we need to do, and that's where we're at with this blazer we're doing now. It's like, okay, I got to get all this done because we got invited to New Zealand and Australia to do Motor X, which is a car show over in Australia.
Yeah.
So we're leaving in like 2 weeks. They're gonna fly us over to Australia. So
Oh, nice.
that's a bucket list that's gonna be pretty
Okay.
neat.
So are you taking a car too, or?
Well, we were originally gonna have Greg Murphy is a car. What was the name of that car, hon? Captive. We did a yellow Charger,
Mhm.
and he's from New Zealand, and he was going to send it to Australia to the show, but didn't work out. So no, we're just going to go and check out that car culture there and see how it
Oh,
goes.
that's gonna be nice.
Yeah, we're pretty excited.
Now I've heard you shouldn't mess with the kangaroos.
Yeah, that's what I hear. They can punch hard
Yeah,
or kick, whatever.
yeah, right. So Ray, what are you thinking, Ray?
You
Kind of
know,
quiet.
what's the thing? What's to say? I missed the last show when Mike was on, and I regretted that. I guess I was away, and so it's a pleasure to meet you, Mike, and be with you.
Thanks, Ray.
I've seen some of your stuff up at the Syracuse Nationals a number of years ago when I was there,
Boy,
and I actually brought home some ideas, and said,
oh,
"Wow,"
good.
because and I think and the crowd around the crowd that was around the car every minute of the day, I think everybody was doing the same thing. Um, but as you know, I mean, it's great. And I was speaking, I think, with your brother at the event, and the good thing is, it was like open. It was an open book, total disclosure, and I've always said, people have asked me, boy, how do you do what you do? Can you teach me? I'll show you I'll show you whatever I can. I'll show you everything. I said, the reality is, everybody has their ability, and we all can't do what everybody else does. So I could probably work under you guys for a year and still not be able to do what you do. So, but I like the fact that you guys will actually explain what you do and how you do it to people, just in case. So,
Yeah, and I think that's such a great point, Ray, is that people sometimes think, oh, you're going to give up your secrets, you're going to do this or that. But it's like, you're right. They don't have your mind. So even if you
Right.
gave two people the same car with a drawing, they're going to interpret that drawing in a different way because it's just what comes out of you personally. So by telling people your secrets or whatever you think they're secrets, because they're really not, you're not the first person to do anything.
yeah,
So I'm with you, Ray. You just tell them everything, and let them interpret whatever the ideas you have and how they can do it. And it's all good. I mean, it's just making us all better. You shouldn't have to hide things from people.
Yeah, I agree.
To think you're gonna make yours, look better than the rest because you're not going to tell them the secret. Smart guys are going to figure it out, and then they're going to be upset with you because you didn't tell them, and they asked you straight up. So you're better off just telling them.
Yeah.
My mom hollers at me because I'll do videos showing people how to do leather stuff, and she's like, "No, they're going to steal your ideas." Like, Mom, there's statistics that show that only like 15% of people will actually do it. So
it's so true. Yeah, I mean, be open. It just makes you, it's a better world.
And the thing is, I've worked with a bunch of younger guys, and I've shown them a lot of things that they just had no idea, that because they weren't alive, with the old cars. And then I've had a great amount of pleasure in sitting back and watching them with their take on what I showed them, because people will always find another way, or, they say, "Hey, let me see that shortcut. How'd you do that?"
Yeah.
That's the beauty. I think you put it out there and see what comes back.
Yeah, because you can learn it from them. You know what I mean? It's like you thought you knew what you were doing, and then somebody in 2 seconds does something that's like, shit, why didn't I think of that? I've been doing it the same way for 30 years. And these guys, I showed them one little thing, and they made it easier than what I've been doing.
Absolutely.
I watch a lot of videos of like bus builders. And I'll even watch the worst guy ever because he'll do one thing that I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
I never thought of that. So I watch good and bad because just one thing you catch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always told if I owned like a big, how would I say, like, God, I'm kind of lost for words. If you had a plant where they said you should hire like the laziest guy to do something in the plant because he'll figure out a way to jury rig something to make it easier. And then you build on that, and then you put him in a different position because some of the guys that are lazy figure out an easy way to do things. And that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
At least have to have one in the shop.
Yeah. Yeah. I got about 4 in the shop though.
That's funny. So how's the shop going? Are you guys? I noticed you got a lot of new people.
Yeah, I mean, we lost Sean, who was a pretty tough loss. He ended up moving to Utah, but other than that, we've hired a couple guys to replace him. You never replace people; you just kind of fill in. But the older you get, the more you are. Ray can probably attest to it. It's like, you always think you're not going to be able to do without a certain person. So for all these shops out there that think, oh, if they lose this guy or whatever, it'll always work out. You know what I mean? And it almost turns out to be better. And you'd say, I can't do without this person. I'll never make it. And then for some reason, it just works out, and sometimes for the best, and most of the time for the best, because we've all had employees over the years, and we've all moved on, and we still keep doing what we do. And we've got some new guys that actually is a lot of fun and keep me young.
Good.
Younger.
Yeah.
So new help is awesome, and some guys we got now are super talented.
What type of a process do you go through to try to vet out and when you hire people? What's the process a new prospective employee has to go through?
Yeah, it's a great question, Ray. I think a lot of it is if they're just there for the money and what the pay is going to be, that pretty much stops it there. But if they're there to talk about what they can learn or what they can bring to the table. And I think that's what I really look at is, I get the opportunity and where they can go and make money, because we all know they need to make money to be with us. But if the first questions are about money and benefits and all that, instead of just being excited about what we do. So I think we look for more of the people that just talk about being excited about the types of builds we have, and because the money will come. I mean, we're finally getting paid enough to pay employees a decent wage. I'm not saying that if you're a great welder, you couldn't make more out in the real world, but we still have a lot of fun and can create things that you're not going to have the opportunity to do. So it's all about what their priorities are, I guess, right?
Yeah, when their first questions are, how much time off do I get? How much am I going to make? And
Yeah,
and what time is lunch?
Exactly. Yeah.
A few of my close friends are small business owners here where I live, and I talk with them regularly. And one guy is he's a hard ass. He owns a transmission shop, and he's just been in business too long to take any crap. And he'll have a guy lined up for an interview, a younger guy, and he may be coming from 30, 40 miles away, and they set it up. Okay, you'll be here. I'm here. I'm at the shop at 6:30, 7 a.m. Be here at 9. And he'll get a call or a text at like 8:45. Dude, I'm running late. I need and he's like, you might as well just turn around and go home. You missed your interview. Well, what do you mean? I texted you to let you know. He's like, yeah, you let me know. Thanks. Goodbye. If you can't make the interview on time, how are you going to be at work?
Yeah.
And he's just brutally honest like that, because he knows, this guy is probably going to be a problem if he can't get up to the interview.
And I think that's with age and getting a little closer to retirement. You can call that when you're younger and you have a shop, you feel like you can't do without the people. So you put up with that a little more, but you're right. I think get a little age on you and you're like, sorry, I'm not ruling to deal with that.
That guy and there's two shops. That guy's shop and my other friend has a motorcycle shop, and they're both in the same boat where the majority of their mechanics are all over 60. They all kind of came up together, and the one guy with the training shop says, he's been investing more in better equipment so the guys don't have to work as hard. He goes, because these guys can fall and break a bone. He's thinking like, and this guy, like, you're not going to get cast up and bounce back Monday like when you were 20. This guy's going to be out probably forever. So he's investing more in safety and things like that. And he says, because I got to keep these guys, I got to keep them working until I can't work anymore. And he can't replace them. He's tried. He's always trying to get a new flow of guys through the shop, and the younger guys just don't want to do it.
No.
Or they come in and they don't have tools, and he's like, well, where are your tools? Oh, I figured there were tools here for me to use. Listen, I use a transmission rebuild.
You're gonna teach me, and you're gonna give me the tools. Yeah.
Like, no, it's not the way it works.
No, it's so funny you talk about that, because it's so true. But the older guys, I mean, I look at our shop, we do have, I'm 61, Jim's 60, soon to be 62, Mark 62, Rick 60, but it's not like any of us are looking to retire.
Right.
We're not like Lewis. That's,
well, I'm
lucky enough to be able to retire.
I'll go you one better, because the boat that I'm in, I happen, I was working in a college, a school system for a long time. I did retire a couple of years ago.
Wow.
So, and I'm 65, but I still work at a shop, and I still do another job. I do cars. Like when you said Rolls Royce, I just inspected a Rolls Royce 2 weeks ago. It was pretty fun. Yeah. So I didn't stop. I just, I stopped. I just stopped the main thing so I'm basically getting paid to be home if I want to be. But,
right.
I think a lot of people of our generation and mentality, we're just not ready to mentally. We're not. I know I'm not ready to say maybe it's time to. But I think of the guys who were our age when I was a kid, when we were kids. What were those guys doing? They were sitting on the porch, drinking a beer, or reading a paper, and like going to bed at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
We've changed.
Yeah.
We've definitely have changed.
Yeah, that's what everybody says about the Ring Brothers. What's your exit plan? I'm like,
Yeah.
Probably when I'm laying on the floor here dead, it's like I have a job that people want to do when they retire and go to the shop and hang around. And
exactly.
I'm lucky enough to have the girls run the place basically, and I can go back and work and hang out with the guys. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah. No, exactly. Because like I said, that's what I started doing it a number of years ago. But in retirement, I'm still working at the shop because that's what I've always liked to do. I like to turn records, I like to build, I like to create. So, it's
there's some about getting up in the morning and and having a purpose in life. I can't imagine where you just get up and there's no purpose. We all have an ego. We don't have to talk about our egos or brag about our egos or anything like that, but we all have an inner ego that is a good thing, that makes you get up and want to create, try to build something better than the other guy. Not better, but cooler, or be still relevant. And I can't imagine just giving it all up and walking away and not be relevant in life. It would be hard.
Yeah. And that's something that, from what I see, a lot of the younger generations, the guys and girls, don't have. They'll just, and I've seen it with my own kids, friends, and all. My kids are they're grounded, they have good jobs, and they're on the right path. But I've seen it with their friends where they'll get tired of something and just toss it and say, okay, I'm just going to go do something else. Well, wait a minute, that's what you went to school for, like, what do you do? Oh no, I just got to go do something else. I had enough. Like, really?
And I've mentioned that, I think, at SEMA a year or two ago, and I think our generation was lucky enough that most of us didn't have anything. So we didn't have material things that we had to maintain, not like what we gave our kids and whatever, right? We didn't have anything. Yeah. So any job gave us things to buy, whatever, but we didn't have to live a certain lifestyle because we needed to make $200,000 a year because we needed this house or that. We didn't have anything.
Right.
So we were lucky enough to take jobs that paid the bills. And I was lucky enough to one that I really enjoy to do, that never intended to be any more than just something I love to do. But like my kids, in a way, I've spoiled them in a way that they've got to make enough money to maintain a lifestyle that they've had. And I didn't really have a lifestyle. You know what I mean? It was like, so it's pretty cool. We were in a generation, even though we were all poor, we didn't know it. And
we were blessed.
Yeah, we were blessed
because our parents were post-World War II, post-Depression era people.
Yeah.
And that's where I learned to skimp and save, So like you said, having nothing, I can still think of my first go-kart, 2x4s, nails.
Sure, exactly.
A piece of rope.
Same thing. And you put your foot on the front 2x4 to make it turn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you had to have some innovation. Obviously, it was a simple machine, but you still had to have some way to, you had to figure out how to hold the axle in place and how to pivot that 2x4,
I think I still have scars from those nails.
Oh yeah.
You never could find the right size nail. You always get the long ones.
Yeah, I know. It's like.
But then you'd sit there straightening nails with the hammer on the ground. Straightening them out. You can reuse them.
Yeah, hit the nail and try to straighten it out. Hell, we had a hell of a time finding a lawnmower that had a shaft going out the side instead of the bottom.
And I'll tell you,
was always screwing us up.
I mean, this is where the hoarder mentality comes through. I've been bitten by that. I have 3 of those side shaft Briggs engines in my ship. I'll never use them.
Never get rid of them, yeah,
All right.
because you knew they were gold as a kid.
I would actually like to get rid of them. I'd like to see them go to somebody who would use them, you know. But now everybody goes to Harbor Freight and they buy Chinese, 12 power motor. These are 3.5 and 5 horsepower motors. Nobody wants them.
Oh, that's funny.
I can remember going into a neighbor's garage, and I can still remember what it smelled like back in the late 60s. It had that old musty smell, and as soon as you opened the gas tank, it was varnished.
Oh, yeah.
You never forget those things, that sensory input.
Yeah, then for some reason that hooked some of us, and other people weren't blessed with what we had,
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, the holy grail of the shaft coming out the side.
Yeah, side shaft. I mean, and I tell you the truth, because I've told younger guys about this. I feel fortunate to remember using those lawnmowers and seeing them work with that big damn rotary blade. And and it wasn't in a horror movie. It was on the on the lawn. That was a hell of a machine, man.
Yeah,
it really was. That was that was a kicking device. But,
so Mike, let's talk about the push rod. That is a beast.
The what?
The green, is it called a push rod?
Enyo?
Oh, that's what it's Enyo?
The truck or
yeah.
That we had it out today. We picked it up again, but yeah, that thing's crazy. It's that Chevy truck that we pretty much scratch built, and 1,000 horsepower, normally aspirated. It's a lot of fun. It sounds as mean as what it is. So yeah,
I tell you, who's ever doing your social media, they're doing a great job. The video and the whole package is pretty tough.
Yeah, that's Con. Yeah, and my daughter was in that when we first started it. She was the one that pulled, because I started it up without taking the tape off the intake there, off the carburetor. So she was pulling the tape off. But yeah, that was my daughter. So yeah, it's hard to believe that's been a few years already. But now we're doing an Aston Martin, which to me is going to be, I'm super excited. It kind of like that truck was. It's like kind of a scratch built 71 Aston Martin DBS, which I know nothing about. I just knew, it's kind of fun to do a European car where you've never seen one before and can say, I don't like this, I don't like that, let's change this or that, because when you do so many Mustangs, Camaros, Chargers, whatever, it's a fine line you're always walking. What do we do to change it, not ruin it? But for a European car, which you've never seen, at least I hadn't, it's easy to say, I don't like this, I don't like that. I mean, I don't care about the purists. You know what I mean? It's like you don't care about anybody, but it's like what your mind tells you is not cool about the car.
I was going to say the best place to be is a non-purist.
Yeah,
because it's a blank sheet
canvas
that just has a form, and everything is open to change. Yeah,
right.
So that's a double car, isn't it?
No, it's a DB5, Lewis. That's DB5.
Oh, is it?
This is DB5.
This is like I don't know if you saw the last James Bond movie where he was killed on the island.
Yeah.
He started out in like a DB something, the older version, the silver
DB5.
car. Is that what that is?
Yeah, the DB5, right.
And then when he was driving away to the island, he was in the newer version, which was the DBS. Yeah. And
they also used a Vanquish too.
There was a Vanquish too. Yeah.
I mean, I know in one of the movies, yeah.
But
which one?
In that one, he was driving, and that's the only time I'd seen this car. But it's very flat-sided, kind of boring, but kind of looks like a Mustang. Very wide, but very short. But we're even widening it like 10 inches in the rear from the stock, really putting some hips on it. It's going to be 82 inches wide in the rear, which is super wide.
Yeah.
78 inches in the front, 49 inches tall at ride height. So it's short, squatty, and I'm super excited. So it'll be another year. We've been on it for a year and a half already,
Yeah.
but pretty excited about that car.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Plus, we're doing a CUDA for Future, the rapper.
Mhm.
His manager George, who was his cousin, who's an awesome guy, but it's pink, so we're pretty excited about that car too. So we're doing that. We're doing another Blazer K5, a Grand National, another Mustang 69. Am I missing anything on?
The Brian car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did have the Grand National in there. Yeah, so we, as many as that sounds, that's it though.
Yeah.
There's some shops that got 30 plus cars in them.
Yeah.
We barely built 50 cars in all our years. So how does a guy with 2 employees, 4 employees have 30 cars in a shop? As a customer, I'd be saying, how the hell are you ever going to get that done?
Yeah, you're waiting forever. I think in this day and age, as a customer, you're just happy that it's in a shop somewhere. Because I know a lot of guys that have gotten burned in cars that's sitting outside waiting in queue, and it's going to be years. So just to have.
We don't even take. If I can't get somebody in within 6 months, I won't even entertain it.
That's good.
Because these shops, no offense. I think they all think that they got to take every job, right? You got to take it and get it in. But say you're sitting on a car for 2 years and you quoted the guy $70 an hour. Now your rate's $90 an hour. Whose car are you going to work on?
Right.
So that car at $70 an hour is probably never going to get any love. And then all of a sudden it's 2 more years later and you're $100 an hour, $110 an hour. You got a contract. So then you hope the guy pulls the car. It's just,
Yeah, it's a game.
we all know you got to do right, because you can taint these people and they're never going to want to do something again because they've got burned and I don't think most shops, I don't think they intentionally do anything wrong. I just think they get caught up and
don't want to turn down the job.
rob Peter to pay Paul sometimes. And so,
in a lot of shops, like some of these shops that have a lot of cars in it, they're bolt-on guys. They're not custom, they're not the Ring Brothers.
No.
You know what I mean?
Hopefully they're better.
No.
They're bolt-on guys.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's a good market. Sometimes I wish I was a bolt-on guy because there's money to be made there. If you've got talent to bolt on parts and give people even a unique car in that way, it's okay too.
Yeah.
But don't fill your shop with taking every car because you're worried you're going to miss out. I think that's young man thinking, where you think you need every job out there.
Can you will the camera pick this up? This is at a local shop that I just went to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to see, right?
I can see it. All right.
Oh yeah, $150.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Mechanical, $165.
Oh my God.
Yes. Welcome to New York.
Wow.
Well,
we built that Charger from a guy from New York. I hope he's on tonight to see what people charge in New York, because he didn't get charged near that.
Louis, is Brian in the queue? I know he's got questions for Mike, and I think he's got a lot. He can add a lot to this conversation.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get him in.
Yeah. This is the stuff we talk about.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Hey, Brian, been a while.
Yeah, it's been since the last time. It's great seeing you again.
Good
hey, you were
seeing
talking when you were talking about about the experience and showing somebody. It would aggravate me because I was a technician before selling tools, and you'd get somebody and you'd like bang your head against the wall because you're like, dude, why can't you learn to do this? I mean, because some people just don't have that talent or that know-how, and then some people just make it look real easy, so that's why.
Right.
And it's funny because I had a customer of mine, a very knowledgeable guy, older guy. He was a little bit older than me, but very knowledgeable. And I told him one time, I said, man, I wish I was growing up and I would have loved to learn under you, your experience. And he was just a cranky old son of a bitch, and he's like, I would have never told you anything anyway, and, but one day he had a heart attack, and they were lucky enough to find him. He was riding his bike, and somebody found him laying in a ditch and called 911. And when the next week or 2 weeks later or whatever it was, when he was in the shop, he's over there and he had 3 or 4 young guys and he was showing how to use the meter and how to do this. And I was like, hey, what happened here? And he's like, I don't know, man. Just something about not being able to show somebody or pass the knowledge that we have, because we're all like little time capsules.
Yep.
And when somebody's gone, that information's never there again. And we talked about this with Chassis John. We had a good guy on the show. And the stuff that you learn, and you might click with somebody, but, you don't have to ever really worry about somebody being you, because you are you,
Right.
So.
And that's so true, Brian. It's like, you're just you and you don't have to worry. I mean, I think we all, it's again about being young and worried that, this is your trade and this is what you do. And you think you're the only one that's going to get this job. And if you tell somebody it, you're going to lose out. But when you get older, you kind of, we had an interior guy like that, but he ended up passing away. But even for us, it's like, we would go to a shop and he would just put down whatever he was doing. He would never show anything. And he went to the grave being an amazing seamstress and never showed anybody his trade.
Yeah.
And it's sad because if I could start over, I think I might get into the interior industry, because I think that's an unappreciated. I mean, let's face it. If you can work with your hands today, with this AI coming out, it's going to take care of the accountants. It's going to wipe out everybody except the guys, the plumbers, the electricians,
can use their hands.
the guys working with their hands.
Yeah, that's right.
The only ones that are in trouble are the ones that told us when we were in school, you're going to be a ditch digger if you don't go to college. I never went to college, right? I didn't do any. I went in the Navy, but that's if for everything they told us in high school, we're going to be worthless. Well, the worthless guys are going to be the guys making bank, because the AI is going to be taking the jobs of the guys that.
Well, that's kind of how it always was. I mean, I remember being a teenager, and I was always pretty good. I had steady jobs, but I had friends who would they'd be working at a gas station and quit on a Friday. Then they'd be at a deli by Monday, and then then they'd be somewhere else, a machine shop, or they're doing woodwork the next week, and they would just change jobs. And I told my kids this. I said, that's the thing. And so they said, well, Dad, but what was the whole thing about going to school? I said, no, that's for you. You're going to school. I said, no, I said, all of my friends, and I still know a lot of these guys, we had something in common. We all used our hands, and we could work in a gas station or a machine shop or a deli or a wood shop, because we had mechanical skills and we had dexterity. I said, we had that ability that went with any job. We have another fellow on the show with us here, Justin from American Gas, a hot rod shop. I would work under him tomorrow. The guy's probably, I guess Justin's probably half my age, maybe a little less. But you know what? He knows so much about stuff that I don't, and I would gladly, apprentice under a guy like that. But like I said, it's ego. If you have an ego, you're not going to be able to do that. I know what I don't know.
Right. You're smart. Yeah, it's like me. It's like if I could go work for a clay modeler, I would work for free. I remember I was working for Fluor at the time down in Inca, North Carolina, and I remember there was an Harry Gant's shop was up the street, and I had a good job. I'm like, I'll go sweep the floor.
Yeah.
Literally, don't pay me. And I mean it. I wasn't one of them where people say, oh, I go sweep. No, I meant it. I mean, I would sweep the floor. Just let me learn whatever. And I think people don't understand how valuable that is and what our generation really meant by that, because we knew the skill, the one or two things we could pick up could be life-changing.
Yeah, that's crazy that you say that. Before selling tools, I was at a Porsche dealership, and I worked on Porsches and so forth. And I was up there in the rankings, and I had gotten an offer to go to Champaign Porsche down in Florida for the race team. And the first word out of my mouth was, "How much you paying me?" And that was it. It was, I was the number 2 guy, so they went to number 3.
Yeah.
But it's not, it's just the age thing and not understanding of putting your time in. They were like, well, you come down here and work, and you work in the dealership, and then on the weekends you're off to the track. And I'm like, okay, well, what are you paying for that? And they're like, next number. And, and then of course, I was, and then it clicked until I got older. Then I'm like, well, that was that opportunity. That was that chance, that opportunity. And, it's always funny. Of course, you'd always like to go back what you learned when you get older to redo, but that's just part of life.
Hey, at least, Brian, there's a lot of people that can look back. They don't have a clue what they said. You at least can look back and say, oh my God. But most people don't even realize what they said. They think that's normal.
Yeah. And like I said, and there's there's people that have that drive, like I said, if that can continue on or get that opportunity again. It's hard to get that. It's just like you said, I'd love to work under one of you guys just because of doing that type of stuff to a car or making stuff. And again, of course, when you get older, have kids and responsibilities, it's hard just to walk away from all that. That's the sad part about it.
Yeah, you're right. You got to catch it when you're young, when you have the ability to do those things and learn those things before you create the debt or the responsibilities that come with, kids and everything else. So,
right.
But there's a will, there's a way, it's all in priorities. And, like I said, we were all blessed at an age where we didn't have anything, and neither did anybody else. We didn't know we were poor, and just got to do a job that paid the bills. And I was lucky enough to find one that paid the bills, and I still like doing today.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's absolutely. Yeah, like I said, I get asked all the time. I mean, I miss working on the cars. I just hated the politics and the people, that the deal. Me and the car got along great.
Yeah.
It's the other side of that gets kind of tough. But
that's why I'm HR in our place, so we don't have to worry about it too much.
That's good. So, you do the painting, correct?
I'm on more of the painting, the bodywork side. Jim's more obviously the assembly, the wiring. And we plus the design side, we're all, we're still running everything day to day. We still have collision. We still have to run the machine shop. We still have to run the fab shop.
Right.
But as far as where I like to be, seriously, I just like the sand, man. I'm a sand man. I can just sit there and just zone for hours. I love weekends because I don't have anybody to bother me. I can just
Right.
During the week, it's like I don't get shit done. And on a weekend, people walk in and think I had 30 elves in there with me because I get a lot done.
Do you guys, are you on the painting and so forth? Are you like, do you still have a stockpile of, some old enamel stuff, or are you doing waterborne stuff, or are you, what type of material are you guys using?
Yeah, we use all glazerite, which is a German paint, but it's a real high end. But we don't use water. We have water. We have a water bank, and and water looks better with metallics. But honestly, everything we do is still solvent based because they've never pushed it. There was 10 years ago, everybody's going to be water, and the world's going to be water, and I've stayed with solvent. We're still lucky enough to use solvent. I don't see where they're going to push us to water, and water's changed a lot. Even with glazerite, the way you paint, you almost have to be a guy to paint water today that's never painted a car before because it's so not like a guy what they're used to. Now it's like you paint a fender and then you paint the door. Then you go to the quarter. Where now, when we paint, we're just all the way down the side. That's not the way they paint this new water today.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's like one coat.
I have a lot of shops, and they were, a couple of years ago, they were really pushing, and they were, they had to meet these deadlines, and they had to have these new booths. And of course, it's all about, not to get there, but, it's all about paying the man.
Sure.
You got to have an inspector,
Flat
you got to
rates,
have this, and you got to have that. And then, of course, you got to have somebody that's a state approved to do all that.
Sure.
It's just one big money pit. But it was funny today. I ran into one of my shop owners that owned a body shop, and he was down there, and I had asked him. I said, we walked in the shop, and I was like, "Why you're not using your water sprayer? Water booth? I mean, you put that in like 3 years ago." He goes, "I'm still waiting for a final inspection." It's like, and the whole time he's like, "Dude, the stuff I have is outdated. It's, nobody wants to use it. The guy I had to get just to paint water doesn't even work with me anymore." It's just like a whole, it's just trying to get everything in line.
Yeah, water, you got to have no humidity, a lot of fans. And then guys are like, well, is it really dry? I don't want to clear over if it's not. And you get older and you're used to spraying something and they haven't pushed you to using it. Even though I have a water bank there, don't use it. I have all these paints that's sitting there that's cost me thousands, but still go back to solvent. And
it's almost as good as the state inspector guy that has a set of the inspection tools in the toolbox never used, so that when the trooper comes in, he's like, "See, I have them all, and they're perfect." But he's over there using something that he's been using for 20 years, and just beat the crap. But it's the game we have to play. But I was just curious if you guys had gotten into that realm, or that type of stuff, paint, or whatever, what you were still using.
We've done it, we have it, but I'd be lying to you if I told you we use it.
And are you guys like glass mat type fillers, or what type of
we use both. We use both fillers, but I still use Z-Grip, which is probably one of the cheaper fillers. And I still like it. It's a little thicker. It hangs, it's more pinhole-y, but pinholes come from, you don't shake your mud maybe, and the oil in the filler, it needs to be a lot of guys just take their filler and don't shake it. You should shake it like you do, because the oil is in the bottom, what I would call oil. And, guys give you a hard time because you mix on cardboard, because that's what you're doing, is you're sucking that oil out of the filler. But the key with, I think a lot of people don't do with filler is they put it on like and leave it right away. Like they put it on. Filler needs to be worked. And I've kind of just learned that over the years. You kind of, you don't just put it on, even though you got it nice, you kind of got to keep going over it till it starts firming up, not till it starts chunking out on you, but, working the air out of it. And, and even though you might have it pretty slick your first throw, it needs to be worked, and pushed against the metal. And it's just things I've learned over the years with doing body work. It's like, God, I wish I would not. I mean, I used to sand so hard, whether it was clear, Bondo, I would press so hard, thinking I got to work so hard. Man, it works a lot better if you let the sandpaper do. I mean, but it's like, I don't know, being young and dumb. I'm like, I'm just leaning into it and think I got to be all muscular. And it's like, shit, man, I could have saved myself.
So speaking of sandpaper, are you a Velcro or sticky pad guy?
I'm Velcro when it comes to Bondo, because sticky pad, there's nothing worse than putting a $3 piece on a long board and going like that and seeing that sheet of paper fly off and the son of a bitch won't stick again. And I'm cussing going, that's $3 fucking that I threw away. But at least Velcro will hold if you really wanted to, because the mud's kind of sticky and throws that paper, and then there's dust underneath and you can never put it back on. Yeah. So
that's one of my big things about guys moving to different shops, because I have some shops that are all sticky, and then you have some shops that are all Velcro. And of course, one guy goes to a shop and he's like, everything I have is for sticky and I need all Velcro. That's what keeps me in business, you guys tell them everything. And but that's one of those
I use both.
Questions. Huh?
I use both. I just start my mud with Hook It, and then I go to sticky after that. But I'm a Hook It guy to start.
Oh, that's okay. Like I said, that's usually a good conversational part when I see a new guy, because I'll ask him, hey, so what do you need? You need a Velcro pad or a sticky pad? And he's like, how did you know? Because I like when they try to use the sticky on the Velcro pad. It kind of, it's kind of funny.
Yeah. God, it ain't working.
No, that throws it across the shop. It's like Odd Job and Goldfinger when he throws his hat to cut the statue. That pad thing goes across the room, so it's kind of funny. So
Mike, the last time you were on, you were talking about 3D printing taillights.
Yep.
So I just bought a printer, so I'm printing some stuff. I'm learning how to play with it. So my question on that is, what type of filament do you use for the taillights?
That's a good question, because we don't even print our own. We actually farm out that. We do have a clear that we've done, and then I will spray them red and then clear it over. But I'd be lying to you, Lewis, on what they use to print our taillights, because it's a different type of printer than what we have. And theirs is a printable red acrylic. And the only thing I do then is polish it, and then I will clear it. But I don't know what that material is.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to find out, because I've talked to a couple different people. I was like, well, I'm ask the Ring Brothers, because they we have a place called Midwest Prototyping, and they did that for us. Like I don't know if you saw, when I told you I was doing that, that was on Patriarch, if you remember that car. We did. And if you look at the taillights on that, they're a cylinder. And that was when we brought the air in through the quarters and came in around the taillights. So it came all the way through. And each one of those lights on each side, there's 3 of them. They were like a triangular cylinder. And they were printed with the grooves inside it, so that when we lit them,
it was pretty damn cool, you know. So
Yeah.
I can tell you to print them was about $3,000 for the 6 taillights. So
Yeah, it's a specialty printer.
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn it. I'm like, man, what do they use?
I mean, the printing world's amazing. Like, I don't know, we have these $3,000 steering wheels that we have, and we have these horn buttons printed in Michigan. They're out of stainless, but the detail in that stainless that they print. But they also print, like, for the Cadillac, all the switches in a certain Cadillac, because they found out that humans can tell as soon as they touch something that's plastic or metal, you can instantly tell that, oh, that's plastic, right?
Yeah.
Cheap. So this certain Cadillac, everything they touch is printed, and they do that too. So it was just through a customer of ours, son, who's really bright and started this company, and we were lucky enough to have some. So what? Azod? AZOF? Azof? AZOTH? Oh, AZOTH. Check them out. They're pretty cool in what they do. But yeah, the printing world is changing by the hour.
Yeah, changing the world.
Yeah. The machining will probably be obsolete someday because of printing.
Yeah, like you said, the AI and the printing is just taking over everything.
Yeah. It's even
programmer. You could be the man.
Right. It's almost like, now, for the machinist for 5-axis, you got to have a guy that understands that. Now it's close to where AI can see something, scan it, and write the mill program. You know what I mean? It's like, it's going to eliminate a lot of people's jobs, and it's sad in a way.